right, guys, welcome back for another edition of Off Topic. Greg and I will have a guest with us today. I'm super excited for the guest. He has a really cool channel. He has really cool cards. He's done, I think, 6 videos so far, but really enjoy seeing his cards. And yeah, I guess without further ado, let's bring him on.
There he
Hi, guys.
is.
Here's Dean.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Of course. Now your channel name, we want to get right off the bat because we want to make sure that people can find you because we don't want to have just anybody on. We want to have people who we can recommend. So
Yes.
how do we find your channel? Because I see symbols and I see numbers and letters. So how do we find you on YouTube?
So I've been slowly tweaking it to be a little easier, I think, hopefully. So it would be W238TH, West 238th, and Goodman, now spelled with letters,
Okay.
no longer zeros and ats, etc. So it should work.
So
if you look around a little bit.
just to be clear, if you want to see his channel, I'll have a link to it in the description. But just when you go to the search engine, it's at W238THSTREET. So West 238th Street. Street is spelled out.
Thanks for adding street. You see, I don't even know the name.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. So
nice.
All right.
Now, can I just ask the elephant in the room question? Where'd that come from?
So multiple things. So it evolved. I started off on YouTube just watching channels, and I had different names, and it was just West 238th, and then which is my street that I lived on in the North Bronx, and that was just the name, and then evolved a bit after I put a video up. And my thing is good man, Goodman. So as in like good twos.
Oh yeah. Because
right?
you collect very specifically. I've met a lot of specific collectors, but you have something unique about the way you collect. Expand on what you were just going to there.
Yeah.
Sure. So I love good twos. It just started in a funny way where I wasn't heavily collecting. I was influenced by enjoying watching people show their collections and wasn't buying much. I still had lots of cards and lots of sort of memorabilia, and my whole life I've enjoyed it, collected, had things that I liked, and the YouTube side of the collecting card hobby I was starting to dig in quite a bit more, and I was like, doing eBay and stuff. And when we hear people talking about 8s, 9s, 10s and everything, obviously in my mind, 10's the best, and I'm looking at a card on eBay and I'm like, good too. And I thought that was funny that it's good. And I'm like, they're calling this good. I kind of love that. And I picked it up. And I was like, you know what? I love goods. And then, of course, as you can imagine, there's all kinds of reasons why I like it, besides the funny, good name. But also, if you start looking at what you can pick up for the cost and things like that, I really liked it. And I like beat up cards. I like seeing damage and things on a card, not, destroyed and worthless, which authentic and 1 could be in those ranges. So 2, and it sort of evolved me loving 2s more and more after the funny start, right? So that's the gist of it. Did I dig in enough for that one, or?
Yeah, no, yeah. I love it. I mean, I've said for a
Yeah.
long time, if you have a vintage card that looks perfect, it looks fake to me. Like part of the journey that the card has been through, you want to kind of the only way to see how a card has made it from when it was open to where it is now is if there's something to show us the journey, and because it can't talk, can't tell us. So I
Yep.
love it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, your
Me
cards are
too.
definitely not cards that somebody like put into like a book and put the book on the shelf for 75 years.
Right. And I'm not
You
in
could tell the
any
people
way,
enjoyed them.
yeah, exactly. And I'm not anti perfect looking card, but I'm not anti beat up card either. So I have tons of awesomely beat up cards.
Why don't you show us a couple of pick a couple of your twos that you like and let us know why you like them.
Yeah, I have a lot of cool ones. So I just randomly had this one up before. So I love the multiplayers. Sorry, I always go backwards here. So here, let me there
So
we
if you're
go.
listening right now, he's holding up a 68 tops, the Superstars card that has Mantle, Maze, and Killebrew on it.
How
And
do I
it's in a
put him
two.
on a single screen?
This is like this one here is literally one of my favorite cards.
Oh yeah, that one's great.
So this is a 60, that's 66, right? 66 tops, NL batting leaders that has Clemente, Aaron, and Mays. And again, it's in a PSA 2.
That's that's such a great multiplayer card. I think it's probably one of my top 3 or 4 multiplayer cards of all time.
When I first sort of discovered that card, I was like, oh my goodness. And of course, going the 2 route, I want to say it was maybe 40, something like that, 35, $40. And I was like, oh my God, this is awesome. So I like that one. I have a few little stacks of different stuff, so I could go in different directions if you want to see more cards. I mean,
Yeah, we'll shift to some other stuff.
yeah. So here's a little trio that I love.
Oh, yeah. So he's holding up
Okay.
a 53 tops Mantle, a 53 tops Jackie, and a 53 tops Satchel Paige. And they're all in twos, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Now you don't exclusively, and they're nice looking cards.
No, they look great.
I love these. The 53 set became, one of my faves very quickly. The artwork on these is just insanity. And, each one's pure artwork. So I love them. And just everything about them, the red, the red on certain ones, but the fonts, the way they show the logos, everything.
Yeah, it's a
Huge
really,
fan
really
of
cool
that.
set. I like
Yeah.
portrait shots where they're kind of tight, but then it's got some cool action ones like the maze. Now, let's back up a little bit. Darren, how did we find Dean's channel? Like, how did that even happen? Like, how did we get connected with Dean?
I found his channel. So that's 2 questions.
Yeah.
I found his channel because he did a VR for Pepino Man. And I thought it was a cool VR. And then I clicked on it and realized he had a channel because I never heard that he had a channel prior. But I've actually known Dean for 43 years.
Oh, wow. So you guys go way back.
Yeah.
How did you guys meet?
He's my brother.
We met at home.
Yeah, we met at home.
The day I came home from the hospital,
yeah,
I met this guy.
So Darren, you're like what, 4 years older?
2.
3 years older? What? Well, okay.
He's 13 years older than me.
No, I'm 2. Come on.
So now let me ask you this, Cindy. Now this is opening a can of a whole. We just opened up. We uncorked some stuff here.
Well,
Tell
if
me
folks
a
were
little bit about Darren. Let's
well,
tell me some fun stories about Darren.
before this, it's good we came clean because I didn't want anyone upset that a 32 sub guy gets to be on the Off Topic show without any special, way in the door, so to speak.
Yeah, special privilege. Yeah, it's fine.
You'll have them lining up and it would be too much, right? So, oh man, stories. Ugh,
Yeah, tell me.
43
So
years.
when Darren was a kid and you guys were collecting cards,
Yep.
do you remember any cards that Darren really like? Do you remember a specific story about Darren getting a card or wanting a card that stands out to you?
So, yeah, I think so. So let's see. Definitely the Ken Griffey Jr. Upper Deck rookie card. That was a big one, huge one. And I think it was like a share gift, the complete set of that. In the box. And of course, he got his hands on that one. He probably generously gave me Rickey Henderson and took his Ken Griffey off the top
I
immediately.
probably gave you
my
Sheffield
guess.
too.
I'll take Chef, of course. I'll take it. But yeah, so that one, of course, Nolan Ryan. So I was a Rickey guy. He was a Nolan Ryan guy.
Mm-hmm.
And so the one that he didn't get was the Nolan Ryan. He got the Griffey, but definitely the Ryan rookie. There was when malls had stores with baseball cards in them. Maybe they still do. I don't think they do, but we had a mall by us and we'd go there to just look at stuff. We'd never really buy from those stores, but I remember they had the Nolan Ryan there. We'd just go look at it, admire it. So, you guys know his story of how that eventually came around. And actually it's funny, I can add to his story because that's when I personally grabbed this guy.
And you're holding up a Rickey Henderson
Rickey
rookie and a 9.
Yes. So I do have non-2s. A lot of stuff. Well, I shouldn't say a lot of stuff. Things I had, before figuring out 2s are my faves. Some non-stuff. And then, of course, you can't always find stuff in it, too. And I'm not obsessed with it to the point, I can't touch anything that's not a 2, but it's the big push, right? But yeah, so when I got that one, I didn't jump back in like he did. When he started his channel, years later, so he would talk about cars with me a ton, but I wasn't going crazy. It was more like, oh man, we're talking about cards again. And then it slowly chipped away. And it's all right, I'm loving this again now, I guess. So, and then, many years now have gone by, gone to some nationals, gone to other car shows like the White Plains by me. I'm in New York. That's one difference between us as well. I'm in New York, been in New York for 25 years now.
So you're a 2 collector, Darren, and a Rickey Henderson guy. Tell me, just curiosity, because I've wondered this for a while. Why Rickey? And I know, wait, hold on. I know your response is going to be, well, he's the greatest of all time. But beyond that, why? What was it about Rickey when you were a kid that made you a Rickey guy?
Well, so let's see. Age-wise, I was barely even playing baseball yet. So maybe T-ball, I'm not sure. But I loved I don't know. Darren had a friend that was super into him, and he just sold me on him And then I'm like, ooh, like stealing bases. But the excitement, I would say, because, you know, sports are entertainment. And Rickey Henderson was like the most entertaining guy imaginable. Everything about him, his style, his glove, his neon green batting gloves, his speed. Because I was fast at that time in my life. I was a little fast. I could run fast. And like just example, I played little league up through school, all the school days, and then you know, like I'm taking giant leads to the point I've been picked off in little league games because I'm pretending to be Rickey Henderson, like that kind of stuff. Like he was just the man. Obviously, when he beat Lou Brock and just his career was just incredible, the longevity of it. So like I appreciate him for different things as I got older too. So
Yeah.
and I mean the guy himself, where a lot of people love to hate on him. Oh, Rickey loves Rickey. Ha ha. Yeah, I bet Rickey Henderson is also telling you he's the best, and you know, stuff like that, which you can't deny that stuff, but misunderstood, definitely. He, I think, set the stage for what guys can pull off now, like in terms of selling themselves and getting, you know, what they can get. Like people would hate on Rickey for demanding what, like $1 million. Like, are you kidding me? If he could play now, he'd be making freaking $70 million a year. Like, you know what I mean? Like the Juan Soto contract that's being heavily discussed. Like imagine Rickey in his prime right now, and this was what was happening. Like leading every team in runs, stolen bases, lead off home runs, like every exciting part of the game, he's the best at it. The part of the game that matters most, arguably, runs. Come on, you know what I mean? So that's
Yeah,
why
I
I
mean, I
love
love
it.
Ricky, and I know you guys are Yankee fans, and so, but it sounds like the neon green era. Because the other thing about those batting gloves, those neon green ones, is they were some of the first batting gloves that had kind of like the pads in them. Remember they had the little padded
Oh yeah,
section in them, and that
yeah,
was right
and
when body
Mizuno.
armor was about to take off. Like it wasn't really a thing, you know, all the ankle, you know, there's the shin protector and now there's the elbow and there's all this stuff. But the first
There's the
time
kitchen
anybody,
mitt for sliding.
oh, the oven mitt is brutal. But
Well,
like
yeah, that's a
Ricky's
great
one
point,
of the
Greg.
first people. Yeah.
We have the bases are now what, 4 inches total plus
Hmm.
oven mitt. Let's add an extra stolen base for every time Rickey was within 4 to 5 inches, got thrown out within 4 to 5 inches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every single close caught stealing is now a successful stolen base. What are we at?
I,
Like 3,000?
I literally, I mean, I've watched a lot of baseball in my life, and out of all the baseball I've ever watched, there are two players that could completely change not just an inning, but potentially a game that weren't the pitcher. And it was Barry Bonds during his whole thing and Rickey Henderson. I mean, Rickey Henderson would be so in the pitcher's head that when he got up, it's like, we can't walk him. There's a ball, panic. A second ball, more panic. Because now he's going to get on first and he might as well be on third. He gets on first and they're just trying to pick him up. I mean, you don't got to preach much to me to get me on the Rickey train because I think Rickey was
He was like a
literally,
nightmare to pitchers. Yeah.
he was a nightmare. He was a nightmare for pitchers. And you know the other thing is he in his life now, like I was at a card show a couple months ago he was signing at. And the thing, and I always, whenever there's a signer like that, I go over and I watch a little bit. And I walked over and I was watching Rickey. And what I noticed most that I was so impressed with is number one, when people would walk up for their autograph, because they were letting one at a time up, he extended his hand first to the person coming up for the autograph. He didn't wait for them to extend their hand. He initiated a handshake, which was awesome. He talked to
Love
them.
that.
he signed everything. You know, he has a great signature.
Oh
When he
yeah.
was done, he asked for the microphone and he spoke to everybody in the show. Just thanks for your support and all this stuff. He walks out. As he's walking out, he's waving, he's like shaking hands. I mean, he was like, I know that he gets this stuff because he's, you know, Rickey loves Rickey, but
Yeah.
he's a really personable guy.
He really is. And
Mhm.
and if you speak to the ex-players that knew him well, the last thing you hear is this self-centered a-hole, blah blah blah. You hear like he's my boy, like that's my man. Like I think
Well, other than John,
Reggie loves him. Everybody that had a nice relationship, you know, some guys who played with him for a year when he was just hitting every single team, you know, one by one. Yeah, you'll hear some sassy stuff, but like you get to know him and you hear really good things about him.
yeah,
And I was
like
lucky enough to go to his inauguration
oh,
in
really? That's
Cooperstown.
cool.
Yeah, yeah. So his speech was fantastic. He like you didn't know what was going to happen, and he ended it with, you know, I forgot exactly how he said it, but something along the lines of like, and on this day, I am humbled. And you were like, oh, he's flipped it on us, right? And like, I think I want to say he went to Oakland Tech to and joined a class to help him with the speech, and like the kids helped him work on the speech. Like the guy's the man. Like the stuff he does is fantastic. That was when I heard that afterwards that he did that at the local like community college or technical school. I was like, of course, that was this solid move.
He living in Northern California, he's around in signs and stuff, and there's always a long line. And you know, he was a Yankee, and then he lived. I got to see a lot of his games. That was back when I would watch whatever game was on. I'd watch, and there were a lot of A's games on. And anyway, so there's
Well, actually,
Rickey.
that's a great point too, Greg, because when we as a family moved to New Jersey,
Mhm.
Rickey came to the Yankees. So he actually became like a local
Mhm.
player too. He I think he had 1 year with the A's, or no, he might have been a Yankee already when we moved. 87 or something, 86, I forget.
86, yeah.
Yeah, 86 is about when he came over.
Yeah, which is I think the year we moved to Jers. So you know, that as you said, now we could watch him on TV, and that's when I got
Yeah.
the ability to see him a lot more and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But yeah.
How about you, Darren? What do you got on Dean? What are some memories from when Dean was a kid? So he remembers you eyeing the Nolan Ryan rookie at the mall card shop. What do you remember him being into?
I mean, like you said, I mean, he was into Ricky's back then, right? I think one of the things about Dean that I think is cool is he never really left the hobby. I left the hobby when I was about 13 and I didn't get back into it until I was 40. Dean's always been in it. Like he stopped collecting cards for a while, but he collected memorabilia. He's got some great stuff. He has game used bases, game used bats, game used gloves. He never really stopped collecting. It's just what he collected in like the baseball memorabilia field shifted around. But yeah, and I think that's the thing. I admire that because I got nothing for a 27-year span of my life. I have no baseball related stuff, and he's been going at it. So I think that's pretty cool. And one of the things I like about him too is well, I like a lot of stuff about him, but one of the things collecting wise I like is his he's able to shift, right? Like he was collecting the twos, and then recently he got more interested in Venezuelan cards from the 60s, right? And there's a couple different, there's the Tops ones, there's the Retorados, there's different sets. And he just, he was picking up a bunch of like iconic golden age cards. and then just decided, hey, I want to switch over to these Venezuelans. They're pretty cool. So
All right, so
there
you're
you go.
holding one of those Retirados up.
There's a
Who is
Cy
that?
Young Retirado.
Oh wow, that's pretty cool.
I did pull that one in a 2, but it's funny because 2s in Retorado is like 7,
Yeah.
7-ish, 8-ish even. You don't see anything in an 8, 9, 10, obviously, ever, because the cards were thin. They were all beat to hell. They were all put in the
Albums.
into the albums, things like that. But yeah, I love them. When I saw my first Retorado card, I was like, what the hell is that? I am really into this. This is my man Connie Marrero.
Now, what drew you into those? Just that they kind of were so bold, or the color, or what was it?
Yes. So the first one I ever saw was, and I don't have it, is the Sandy Koufax. This one is gold though.
Oh wow,
The
Satchel
Satchel
Paige.
Paige. Nice.
Yeah, like you see, they all have, not all of them. So if you can get up to a 2, then you can get a clean back. If it's below a 2, it's very rare to see it with a clean back because they all were glued into the albums. But yeah, those became what I was really going after. I saw the Sandy Koufax. I think it was a signed one at auction, and it just went crazy. And I was like, what is this? Well, I've never seen this card. He's got the stance, like holding the ball up close like that. And then I started looking into them, and I was like, what? And if you look at, I'm not like a big population pop guy, but all of these, just in PSA wise, I do have a handful of them in SGCs too, but in the PSA ones, they all average 40, like 35 to 45, maybe some crack like 50 of them in all grades. And it's like, they're so rare, they're not like insanely rare. Like you can go on eBay right now and see a handful of them. Good condition, harder to find, but yeah, I definitely got into those.
What's your favorite Retirado that you've got?
Honestly, I would probably put the Satch up very high. I have a lot of them. I don't have as many as my buddy from YouTube. And why am I spacing on his account? He's like pure Retorado. Wonderland, vintage card Wonderland.
Okay. Yeah. He's got like
he's doing
set,
the
right?
50 Retorado like videos. Like he's doing 5 at a time, 10 videos. He hasn't finished it yet, but yeah, I don't quite have them all. And I don't necessarily want every single one. I'm not like freaking out over getting every one. I have almost every one that I want to get my hands on. There are really cool Cuban players and Venezuelan players that I don't have. I have the Connie, but some of those too are pretty sweet. But
And I'm with you. I don't do set collecting because there's always cards and sets that I don't necessarily want. So
there's only 50, so it's not like you have to go buck wild to get to the 50. But I'm not upset about stopping at 40 of them. That's still a ridiculously awesome set. So
let me ask you this. So, you two grew up, two boys, and your dad was a collector of memorabilia and cards and stuff like myself. I'm the younger brother, and my dad was a collector. Is some of the reason you think, Dean, that you got into memorabilia and stuff is because of being introduced to that from your dad? Because I know that your dad's into some of that stuff too. Or do you think?
1000%, absolutely. He was a ridiculous collector when we were growing up, and I would just be amazed by his stuff, and his stuff was all vintage classic Yankees stuff only. I think only. I don't, maybe he a little dabbling here and there of very special things, but it was pretty much all Yankee stuff. So yeah, we were around it
What are
always.
some of the couple of pieces from your dad's collection that when you were a kid kind of stood out that you remember just being like, whoa, about?
So he started kicking it up when we were a little older. So he
High
was
school.
still, yeah, so he was still collecting even like when we were in college, maybe still finding cool stuff. And he did really interesting stuff. Like he would collect what year was it with the Yankees? Every single Yankees card signed.
59 tops.
59. So every single one. And when he finally got the last one, he framed it. You know, this was like, you weren't having a lot of like, oh, you got to get it in the PSA holder, SGC.
Yeah.
It was really like, I'm collecting these cards. I want them all signed. And eventually, you know, he just had a frame with everyone in it. That thing was sweet. But I'd say, man, he had cool stuff. Okay. You know what his coolest thing was to me? And I always joked that I wanted to put them on and go up and eat breakfast. He had game used Elston Howard pants.
Oh, wow.
Hanging on a hanger, just chilling on the wall in the room. That was probably my favorite thing.
Wow.
And I didn't even really know who Elston Howard was.
Sure.
Until he had the pants. And I'm like, you know, he obviously told me all about Elston.
Were they the away ones or the pinstripes?
Pinstripe.
What about you, Darren? What's one of the things that you remember sticking out from your dad's collection?
His untorn ticket from the 32 World Series game when Babe Ruth called his shot.
Now, I know a few years ago your dad liquidated some of his stuff, and there's
All
a
of
whole
it.
story.
Well,
And
he gave us a couple things and he sold most of the rest of it.
so he gave you, Darren, I know that you've shared this on your channel, but one of the cards, correct me if I'm wrong, was the card that he got when you were in Cooperstown and you had bought your card and he bought a card, and isn't that the one that you picked and you kept?
Yeah, so I bought a 41 play ball Hank Greenberg and he bought a 41 play ball Ted Williams. And he gave me the Ted Williams. He also gave me Willie Keeler, the one that you made your card after, the T206 portrait.
Mm-hmm.
He had one of those. He gave me a John McGraw, the red background portrait, T206. And then there was another, E97, the Briggs lozenges, Willie Keeler as well.
Oh, wow. And what did you get from that, Dean?
I got a few things. I could show you one. I have it right over here. Hold on.
I'd love to see it. See, this is fun. This is fun for me right here, hearing this stuff. All right, he's coming up with a bat.
Let me slow play
it. Oh, is that a Reggie bat?
Game used, beat to hell.
Oh my gosh.
Signed
in silver ink. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's cracked, so I have to be careful, but I'll swing it a little bit. I'll swing it in the house a little bit.
So you ended up with the Reggie bat. So did he ask you, hey, Dean, before I do this, what's a couple things you want? And you say, I want.
Nah, he probably asked him. Because
if he asked me, I'd say I want the 32 World Series stub. I want the Willie Keeler, his like 1880 whatever, like 1/1 rookie card. I'm a jerk. He would never ask me what I want because then he wouldn't be able to sell the good stuff. I'd keep it all.
Yeah, he had a sweet auction. He put it all up.
But then he's gotten back into it. So you all kind
of
started because of your dad. Oh, because of Darren.
No, because of Darren. Yep. he
So
forced
now,
us back in.
so Darren grabbed you guys and dragged you both back in,
Correct.
and who jumped in first? Did your dad jump back in first, or did you jump back in first?
I think he did when he bought his Leaf Jackie Robinson.
That's right. That's right.
Tell us about that Leaf Jackie Robinson. I know about it, but tell in case people aren't familiar with it. Is that something you want to talk about?
Yeah, it's pretty nice. It's an 8.
He's got an 849 Leaf Jackie Robinson.
Yeah, he's a huge Jackie Robinson fan though. Like that's his thing. Like he doesn't collect cards like Dean and I do. He collects very specific things, right? He's got like Alexander Cartwright's first edition Rules of Baseball book. He has a 40, I think he has a 47 Dodgers team sign ball, which is obviously Jackie Robinson's rookie season. He has a beautiful Jackie Robinson sign, like single signature ball. He just picked up last year a ball signed by Graig and Ruth on the same panel with Jimmy Fox on the back. But he picks up very specific things. He's getting back into Willie Keeler, which is cool. He picked up a couple pieces recently, but he's very particular. Like when we were at the National, he was looking at a Willie Keeler Ramley, and we found one. I think it was in like a 3. And I was like, whoa, a Ramley in a 3. Like I wouldn't, like, I don't think, like, that's a high grade. He's like, he looked at it, he's like, nah, I need this in like a 5 or a 6. He's like, I want it to be clean. I want it to be centered. So he's very particular with what he picks up. He picks up very few things for himself. And when he does, they're really cool.
He's got to just be in hog heaven when the 3 of you guys go to the National and you're hanging out for a couple of days doing this thing that he, largely kind of planted the seed for you guys. And now you guys are both all fired up about it. And then it's him and his boys. I mean, I had a blast. When we had at the National, we had breakfast together and I had fun. I think that's when I first met you, Dean. And then I sat with you guys also at that dinner, either that night or the following.
I couldn't shake your hand though, so this time I'll shake
it. I'll take a hug. Either way, but yeah, I mean,
it was because of poison ivy, not because I'm like a weirdo that can't shake somebody's hands.
Howie Mandel or something. But I mean, he's got. Is he the most pumped out of the 3 of you guys when you're getting ready for the National, or is it one of you two?
Nah, it's him,
Darren.
I'm super pumped for the National. Usually, I mean, I enjoy the National the same way I think most people enjoy the National, but I get the added benefit of, spending time with my YouTube friends and spending time with my dad and brother, which is really cool.
And don't get me wrong, we love it, but like he'll call like when we're at the airport, just like wilding out on the phone about like all the awesome things that have already occurred in like the day and a half that he beat us there. Like he loves that stuff, and I love him loving it. It's awesome.
Yeah. So like when you're walking into the show, when you go to a show like that, and Darren's already kind of said, it's this and that. Do you go in with kind of a plan, Dean, or do you just kind of go and are you a guy who just lets things happen, or are you a guy who likes to? Yeah. So you seem
I'm
different.
I'm a let things happen guy.
Darren's a planner. He's got a list, and then you're just let's see what shows up in front of me.
Dean has a list, but his list it's not necessarily. It definitely has very specific cards on his list, but he's more of a I'm looking for these specific cards or this type of card.
Or no idea.
Or no idea, and you just see it.
Holy crap, that's awesome. Now all of a sudden, I'm on some whole new thing that I'm hunting down. That's what happens to me a lot. Like I have tons of little mini collections of certain stuff like these.
Show some of the show. You got some of the 67 Venezuelans, right? Oh, there you go. The stand.
This is what this. So this got me. Right.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So then
If you're listening and not watching, he just held up a 64 Mickey Mantle stand-up, and now he's holding up a Koufax, Aaron, and is that Duke Snyder? Who is that other one? Ernie Banks? Can't see. Elston Howard.
Elston Howard.
Nice.
Who I obviously love.
Yeah.
My man Elston. So yeah, so like things like that. I'd never had seen those. So that's the thing. What I also love a lot about the YouTube stuff, because of Darren first, but now I follow a handful of other folks, and I just see so many cool things I didn't know about. But when I first saw the stand-ups, I was like, oh my God, what are those? And then like all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I'm keeping my eye out for the yellow and greens popping up in the peripheral. Oop, that one's awesome. But yeah, like Darren was saying, big fan of Venezuelan stuff too. The whole like rarity of it, the super beat upness of it, the history of how they came to the US, amazing stuff. And I have a bunch of non Retorado Vannies too, like that I like. Man, Mini here.
Oh yeah, 62 Venezuelan tops Mini Manoso. Now he's holding up an Aaron, a 68 Venezuelan tops Aaron. Yeah, I mean that was really well centered too.
Do you have do you have any Venny Clementes?
Yes.
I figure we show on for our friend Theo.
We like to take salt and rub it deep into people's wounds. That's high on our list here on Off Topic.
What do we have there?
Yeah, look at that. 66 Venezuelan
Clemente, nice.
Black with the black and red.
That's nice. Awesome.
Love this one.
Now what got you to say, you know what, I'm going to start a channel? Because there's a huge difference between your brother having a channel and you checking it out, and maybe now you're watching a couple other channels to going, yeah, I'm going to turn that camera around. How'd that happen?
Super simple. Well, so I've always been a maker of things, a creator of stuff. I make everything. I've always created things. I've had different sort of music podcasts and where I spend time putting something together and put it out, or artwork. I make art. I had a business with like t-shirts where I did all the graphics and production on them and stuff like that. So I've always made stuff. Like, funny enough, I had like a Instagram for my cat who has passed away, and it like was super successful, so to speak, with like tons of people loving my cat and stuff like that. So I've always like liked doing something as like a fun thing to do. But I'll say, so when he started his, I was talking to him like 3 times a day about everything. What's he gonna do, how to do it. I was helping him with his like intros and transitions when he had all the cards flying. Like I was all in on that with him. Mm-hmm. But as you know, you've probably learned about him over the years, he could also have some, I don't want to call it stubborn, but or sort of like, this is what I'm doing. Great idea, but this is what I'm doing. Because I'd be like, hey, why don't you do a video where you do this, this, this? And he's like, yeah, okay. So mine is more, if he doesn't want to do it, maybe I'll do it. So like, I don't know if you, Greg, if you watched the one where I had like the spinning wheel, where I like
I've seen all your videos. You haven't done one in a minute, which I'm a little bummed out about. But
no, I did one. When
was
13 days ago.
Yeah, that's a while.
Is that too far?
Oh,
so here's the thing, Greg. I'm not gonna drop super frequent videos. I like coming up with an idea, thinking it through. Well, I guess the spinny wheel thing is sort of thought through. There's also like a on the fly part of that one too. But like the Pepino Man VR. So Pepino Man, I love. He's like the best. He's hilarious. He totally grabbed my attention early on, and he did the VR, where he asked us to show a card from every decade. And I was like, oh my God, that's such a fantastic idea. And I said to him, I'm like, do that VR. You have to do it. And he's like, oh, yeah. And he didn't do it right away. And I'm like, you going to do the Pepino Man? And I was like, you know what? I'm doing it. So I did it. And that was sort of, I did put up a video before that. Like I did a fun Retorado like gift that I made, and the video like is me like showing how to I made it and stuff. But like the first one where I showed any baseball card was the Pepino one, and my last video was like part 2 of that because I really liked that style a lot. So I did the same thing where I just did one from every decade like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I always have ideas. It's just when I'm gonna put it all together. I actually want to do something cool, sort of Retorado-y, like deep dive, not deep dive, but like almost like slight documentary-ish vibe. And I've been kind of grabbing up very cool stuff. You want to see a little something?
Sure.
I'm open. Yeah, let's do it.
Let's see.
You did a video as you're doing that. You did a video a while back. One that stuck out to me is where you had like one thing lead to the next. Like this guy's name is Barry, so here's another Barry, and then he's a giant, so here's another giant, and just sort of like that.
Right.
Make your own.
Choose your own adventure.
Sort of, yeah.
That was an idea that I was like, this is a super fun idea. And the same thing with like the spinny wheel videos. It's like I can end up showing, like, I don't know what I'm going to end up showing until I start getting going. And then it sort of takes some kind of path. But yeah, exactly. Like the choose your own adventure. So one of the things with the Venis is that, or sorry, with the Retorados is that 1967 Venezuelan. So as everyone knows, you know, Topps teamed up with Venezuela to produce. Sometimes they were made here and went to Venezuela. Sometimes they were produced in Venezuela. Different sets have different, you know, things about it like that. The ones from 67, they're called Topps. They are not Topps. They're absolutely not Topps. They're bootlegs, pirated cards that the company Sports Graphico created, not in line with Topps, just in 1967. Don't know why. I'd love to learn exactly what happened there. But if you look at the backs are these backs, not Topps backs with years and stats. The everything about it is just like pirated bootleggy, almost like they didn't want to not make it and they did anyway. So the first set that year was all Winter League, you know, Latino teams, all the Cuban teams and the Venezuelan teams. It was just them. The next part of the set was the Retorado 50. And the final part was the Topps. And it was all like the random players. I forget how many they did, but, you know, they created their own backs and literally photocopied the fronts. I guess I can.
There you go.
See?
Oh, wow. Yeah, look at that.
That's not a Topps back in any way. Now, that made me love these things so much, so I really started digging in. So check this out.
So real quick, for those listening, he just showed a 67 Venezuelan mantle.
Which has a Retorado back.
Which has a Retorado back. Instead of the normal
Topps back. Yeah.
So when I found this, what I'm about to show you is when I'm like, ooh, I got to do like a deep dive kind of thing with this. So check this out. This is a Sports Illustrated magazine.
Yeah.
Awesome. Willie Mays as a Met.
Yeah. Mookie salivating.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Mookie, check it out, Mookie. So take a close look at the helmet and like where Sports Illustrated falls.
Okay.
Now, the company who prints Venezuelan baseball cards, Sports Graphico,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Adios, Willie. You recognize this picture, right? Look closely at the helmet.
Oh, you could see where
Oh
it said
my gosh.
illustrated. Cool.
That's hilarious.
Literally bootlegged, cut out, just like the Retirados are. These guys are just cut out, laid on top of blue, and they print it. I love it. Like I literally can't get enough of it.
Now something like that, because there are so many little rabbit holes with so many little cool stories like this that you just shared.
Yes.
How do you find something like that? Are you just like a click turns into a click turns into a click, and you find yourself at this page that's talking about it, and now you're like, I need that? Is that how that happens?
Nowhere is this information anywhere. I literally was buying Sports Graphicos, hoping to find some that have some of the images inside that were used for the cards. I found a ton of the images. So that's part of the other thing I want to do is like show where they got the images. But in doing that, this one I found.
Yeah.
And I was like, I've got to find this, right? So I reversed imaged it, saw that it's a Sports Illustrated. I didn't even notice this at first. I didn't even notice that. I noticed that after I bought it. And I was like, oh my God, that's insanity. That's so awesome. Like you literally can see it.
That's hilarious.
So that's how, so that's why I thought it'd be cool to like show a little bit about that stuff. Cause there's no one talking about that specifically. So
yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
Well, Darren, I've had you and your brother on with us here for 52 minutes. And you know how this is usually about when we start to wind things down. You got your brother, you got the recording is going, the wheels are spinning. This is your opportunity to press him with something. Is there something that you want to put him on the hot seat for since he's on the hot seat?
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh,
you got a couple pickups recently. Can you show one that you haven't shown before? Just one.
Oh boy.
And impress me with it.
Is it a Captain Midlife? Oh, sorry.
Oh no, I don't have that, Greg.
Well, you didn't fill out the form then. That's on you.
Okay, let's see.
Darren has one. I didn't make Darren fill out the form though. I just sent it.
Thanks, buddy.
Oh man, I'm excited. I don't know what I'm about to see, but I have a feeling that I should be excited for this.
So, all right, let me see. I don't have anything close. I'm scanning through.
Are you looking for a card in particular, Darren? Is there something in particular you're hoping for him to show here?
No, I literally know that he had some pickups, and I know he didn't tell me all the ones he got, so I'm curious.
All right, so I haven't never showed this one.
Okay.
It's the Venezuelan version.
Oh,
cool.
So it's back to the 65 batting leaders with Clemente, Aaron, and Mays on it.
Nice.
That's pretty cool.
That's super cool.
That's very cool.
Nice.
Love it.
Yeah, that one was great. Now, I did pick up one of the other things that I started loving too, and this is another example of like never heard of it, know nothing about it, see it, and I'm like, oh my God, I gotta like learn about this stuff. Japanese. So at the National, Robert had a table, and I walked past it, and I was like, what the hell is this stuff? This is
like the first table in the show, right? It's
correct.
Pristine or something, right?
Prestige.
Yeah, Prestige. My bad. Yeah.
So This one was sweet. This is like sort of, I get confused with some of the rookies, but this was
Oh, that's my favorite one. That's my favorite O card. I can tell you as a kid, so he's holding up one of the Sadahara O rookie cards. Now, I literally, as a kid, used to go to some of the biggest shows in the country. We're in San Francisco, and the national. I actually went to a national in San Francisco when I was about maybe 12, and I saw that card, and it blew my mind. That card
it's insane.
blew my
I
mind with the ore
absolutely
background.
love it. I
Yeah,
love it. And
It reminds me
so,
of the T206 Cobb.
and you recently got it.
yes, and so I've rabbit holed a lot with the Japanese stuff. And Dylan too kills it with the Jap. He has
Yeah.
some that I was
Yep.
so envy. He has these playing cards.
Yeah.
Not the one he showed
king
recently,
one.
but a couple months back, I think. And he has a Shigeo and a Sadaharu, like with one serial number difference from the PSA, but he got at different
Yeah.
times and it randomly came
Yeah.
together. But he's
Yeah.
always showing close up. But this, I wanted to show this little rainbow I grabbed. All
Oh, that's
Mankos, right?
Yeah.
Raw,
Now,
obviously.
these Japanese cards, where do you buy these? Because a lot of these
These
are all hand cut, aren't they?
hand cut, they're all the Mankos with the super
Yeah.
cool backs, like
Yeah.
cartoony, like some of them are checklist type stuff, some of them are Giants. So this one I might be from this set too. I'm not totally sure. But yeah, this was these were a guy in Hawaii was selling. He's got tons and tons and tons, and he gave a solid deal like on a nice little batch of them. And you could hold up this one. So this is sick. This is like an oversized 1964 Morinaga candy card.
Oh wow.
Like this card is sick. Like look at that. Look how cool
Yeah.
like the background. You see it's like
Oh wow. That's cool.
yeah, so this has been a little side thing that I've been keeping my eye on that one too. But yeah.
I love it. Well, if you've not subscribed, and it sounds like I didn't realize this, but it sounds like your subtotal is not super beefy. So hopefully, maybe some people head over there, because I think that one of the things about your channel is it is literally probably the most creative channel that
I
I've
agree.
ever seen. Literally, it's probably the most creative channel. A lot of people just do. Everyone else is doing this, so I do this. I'll just do what everyone else is doing.
Yeah.
Your videos tend to be things that nobody else is doing. They're like spawns from in your brain that then come out, and you can see your creativity, and I find that to be extremely entertaining. So
Well, I
I would go
appreciate
check out
that.
Dean's channel. Yeah.
That's really all I really want to do because I watch so many. Like I
Mhm.
love so many of the channels and everything is awesome. Like I really enjoy watching all you guys. Like not to just go running off names like Mangini is
Yeah.
my man. He kills it. He has such crazy stuff. I learn like a new thing half the time I watch. I'm like, oh my God, what the hell is that? That's crazy. So many. But what was funny when I did the Pepino, and I made sure like I was like, Darren, don't like blow this up. Just let it like flow a little bit, see what happens. Orlando, who I also absolutely love, got to meet him at the National. Orlando saw it and like shouted it out on his and is like, you got to see this. He's got like 6 subscribers.
Yeah.
And then a bunch of other guys jumped on. Mookie, Theo, love Theo, who put both of you guys on, didn't he? Didn't he
Steve
kind of
had me
sort of
on
Yeah.
bring you guys
He's
on?
the second channel that had me on, and I found Darren because Darren was on with Theo, and I liked Darren, and I called Theo and I said, "Give me Darren's number. I want to have him on."
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, Theo and I got to really chill with Theo at the National. We were cruising in the van for a minute. That was fun. So we got to really talk a bit. So yeah, a lot of guys popped on. Lou Rock, and then the other Lou, Godlike, love both their channels.
He's a good guy. Yeah.
Great guy. Like I really love all the variety and stuff. So I like that I could also have a little other, throw a little something else in the mix. But like honestly, the more subscribers you have, the more like pressure to put videos out and this and that. So if you love it, that's what I like to say on mine. If you love it, then subscribe. But yeah, definitely check it out if you want. And I'm gonna keep putting stuff out.
Cool.
For you guys to enjoy.
Perfect.
All right, Darren, you want to put a bow on this thing?
Yeah, so thank you, Dean, for coming on. Obviously, Greg, always great to chat with you. I'm sure you and I will chat soon, like tomorrow. Dean, I'll probably chat with you either tonight or tomorrow also. But
that's great.
Thanks for coming on, guys. Appreciate it. Thanks everybody for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. We went over by about a minute, but that's not too bad. We stayed on topic though, which is a little frustrating, but next time we'll break it next time. All right, guys. Well, hope everybody has I don't think I'm going to have another video before Thanksgiving, so hope everybody has a great Thanksgiving, and we will talk to you guys later.